Hello, happy Portland Startup Week Eve, as it were. There's going to be some really big news. Definitely going to get to it. But hang on. I know you're like, old dude, gonna like wander around, babble about things, not make any sense. True. But I also create chapters for you out of respect for you and your time. So if you're like, I only care about the big news, there'll be chapters for that. You can get to the big news. And then, of course, if you stick around till the end, or if you cheat and jump to the chapter immediately, there will be secrets at the end of the episode. Although this time around, I don't know that you're going to be terribly interested in the secrets, because if I'm looking down, I can see I'm wearing my cranky pants. So, maybe kind of a cranky issue episode. Let's just get through this, shall we? Because it's a big week, big news, big, important startup-y news. $140 million round for a Portland startup, which is practically unheard of. Or is it? We'll get into where that fits contextually in things. As I mentioned, Portland Startup Week will be kicking off. Kind of give you some highlights like I did last week. Just remind you the big events that are happening so that, you can go to some of them. You can go to some of the smaller events. You can get your Portland Startup Week on. Kind of thing. Like, my apologies to Missy Elliott. And then our friends at Latino Founders are putting some of that PSEF money to work. Tell you about that as well. But before we start, just some quick hits. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, is the Oregon Innovation Summit, Oregon Innovation Showcase. Yeah. But the problem is the site's been down all week, which is not terribly innovative. But just been down. Just the site's been down, not working all week. So I wanted to let you know, if you want to go to the Oregon Innovation Showcase, you need to go to a very specific URL, and I will put it on the screen, but I'll also read it out to you for those of you on the listening on the podcast. It is socialenterprisesinc.swoogo.com/2026. Just rolls right off the tongue. Like, the minute I saw this, I immediately thought of the Saturday Night Live sketch.
And now all the resources of America's oldest investment firm are available online. Dylan Edwards on the internet at www.clownpenis.fart.
So that, I'll go ahead and link that video up as well, just, for a little bit of entertainment. This week I posted a lot of podcast conversations, not my own, but founders who are taking the time to chat with other podcaster interviewee type people. So our friend Devin Gaffney was chatting about kind of social media and AI and all those kind of things. Our Oregon AI accelerator company, Dr. Notes, was on the TAO podcast, and Canopy was chatting about the future of robotic farming. So all three great conversations to listen to. And then also Caitlin from who took over Creative Mornings Portland from Silly Pines back in the day. She has a conversation too with the Awkward Handshake podcast. So link that up as well. And then the other one, quick one, before we get to the big news, Startup Grind rebooting in Portland for the 375th time. As they say, 375th time is a charm. So I'm sure it'll stick around this time. I'm sure it'll have plenty of runway, but I'll also share a video from the folks who are working on rebooting Startup Grind for Portland. So wish them the best of luck. It's always nice to tap into global movements that have regional presence, like any number of things we do around here. I'm just not like we do with Portland Startup Week, like we used to do with Startup Weekend, like we try and do with South by Southwest, like we're doing with the Startup World Cup, like we did with 1776. You get what I'm saying? It's nice to have our own kind of local version of a national or international global event. And that's very much what Startup Grind is. So wish those folks the best of luck in rebooting Startup Grind. Okay, let's get into the big news. I teased it at the top. $140 million went to Panthalassa. If you're not familiar with Panthalassa, I wasn't terribly familiar with them, but I've been hearing a lot about them. They are one of the startups. Like, I often go out to people and I'm like, hey, what are you hearing about? What's a new interesting startup that no one's talking about? Who should I be paying attention to? And literally every single person I've been talking to for the past 6 months has said, keep an eye on Panthalassa. They've been around for a while, but they're doing some interesting stuff. And there's sure to be news about them soon. And lo and behold, $140 million Series B for Panthalassa. What does Panthalassa do? Why the sudden interest in Panthalassa? Well, they provide compute for AI, but they also do it in a very interesting way. So Panthalassa is like, it's like a sphere, but then it's got like a thing, like it looks kind of like a push pin with a spherical top. And this thing, they plop it in the ocean, and the ocean wave motion creates the energy for the instance. And if you've been to the Oregon coast, our ocean, the Pacific Ocean, not terribly warm around these parts. So it also provides the cooling because of the heat. So what they can do is they can shove a bunch of like AI infrastructure, compute infrastructure into that sphere, sits there and bobs, gets the energy it needs, gets the cooling it needs, and everybody else gets the AI compute that they need. Win, 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 win. I don't know how many wins there are there, but that's what Panthalassa is doing. That's why there's the interest. Really curious to see where they go with this funding and how much it kind of propels them forward, because I was actually at a thing, and I'll talk about it later in the secrets, but I was actually at a thing this week where I was really trying to hammer home, if any, and this is before I heard about the Panthalassa funding. It was like, what do you call that? Clairvoyant? It's not clairvoyant. What? Whatever. I was telling the future, because I was like, given what we have here in Oregon with all of the expertise from Intel and other chip manufacturing groups who have a presence here, the Mentor Graphics kind of diaspora that we have here. Mentor Graphics was the most successful IPO in history at the time it IPO'd. Just trivial fact there for your fun weekend trivial knowledge. So those kind of companies. Then, of course, we have the energy systems. We have people experimenting with wave energy. We have, of course, the massive Columbia River and Columbia Gorge energy, be it hydroelectric or wind based. So my hypothesis, which Panthalassa kind of helps play out, is that if anybody is going to create the future of AI infrastructure and do it in a way that is both, sustainable and good for the environment, or, it decreases the impact on the environment, I think Oregon has a chance to do that. We got the chip knowledge, we got the energy knowledge, we got the ethos of wanting technology to not destroy the world. Panthalassa fits right in there. So I'm really curious to see where they go with this. I will obviously be keeping an eye on it. $140 million is a big deal. One of their investors, the one who led the round, there was a discussion on the Portland Startup Slack about whether they were actually completely persona non grata or just a person that people have varying opinions about. I'm not even going to bring it up because I don't want to focus on that. I realize how hard it is to fundraise. It's unfortunate that only one local investor, Portland Seed Fund, was involved in this deal. I was hoping there would be more local investors. They also use the Intrepid Fund, which is designed to help startups like these. So a couple chunks of local capital wound up in, but I was really hoping to see kind of a lot of our local investors rally around this. The lead investor might have had something to do with that. I don't know. I'm not trying to create rumors or drama or friction. I'm just saying, in the discussion about this fundraise on the Portland Startup Slack, this lead investor was divisive for the community, and there was a really good conversation about it, all on the up and up, which I really appreciate. Thank you to everyone on the Portland Startup Slack who participated in that conversation and kept it on the up and up is the best way to put it. They were very polite about the discussion, even though there was the potential for there to be some heated views. Panthalassa, $140 million raised. That, of course, brings me to where's that fit in with the largest fundraises I've covered in the last almost 19 years on Silicon Florist. And so I went through the list and made some mistakes with my first poll because, that's kind of how I do. And, but finally, I think I've come up with a refined list of is $140 million the largest raise ever in Oregon? No. Where does it fall among the largest raises? Well, I love coming back to the Casey Kasem countdown, Dick Clark counting, Ryan Seacrest, whoever does it these days, the kind of countdown thing. So I went through all the posts that I had written about fundraising, and I would like to tell you where Panthalassa falls in terms of ranking. Of course, we're going to count them down to number one because that's the fun way to do it. Are they number one? Well, I don't know. You just have to wait and find out. So I'm going to do 15. Let's do 15. All right. And then I'll tell you some honorable mentions as well. But first of all, starting at number 15, Puppet Labs raised $40 million in June of 2014. Boulder Care with a double. Boulder Care is both number 14 and 13 with a $35 million raise and a $36 million raise. Puppet Labs cannot be there again, so I've clearly put some stuff in the wrong spots. Act On, $42 million, April 2014. Eclipsium, $45 million, January 2025. Torque and Crescendo tied for a $50 million raise at number 8. Initian at $55 million in January of 2022. Sheer ID raised $64 million in November of 2019. Conductor One, C1, raised $79 million in October 2025. Hydraulics raised $1 million more, $80 million, April 2025. And then we get to, of course, Vacasa, which was the big unicorn that went public and all those kind of things. Vacasa, in at number 4, raised $103.5 million in October of 2017. And then we make a huge leap to Panthalassa, which is at number 3 for amount raised since I've been covering this stuff since 2007. Panthalassa, $140 million. Then our friends down south with the humanoid robots, Agility Robotics, number 2, raised $150 million in April of 2022. And the number 1 most raised capital. Now, I'm convinced there's some PE in here somewhere. This isn't all VC, but I didn't really want to disentangle it because some of it's VC and some of it was PE, and I don't know which was which. And if you're not familiar with the acronyms I'm using or why my voice is going south, then it's not really that important. But just understand that traditional venture capital differs in my mind from private equity, and sometimes those two get conflated by the news cycle. People see a massive amount and then they assume it's VC when it's actually PE. But all that being said, this number, the number one biggest fund raised, which may be partially PE, is Vacasa. In October of 2019, they raised $319 million. That is the largest funding round I have ever covered in the past, give or take 20 years. So that's where it lands. Panthalassa is at 3, which is impressive. Like, that's number 3 with a bullet, or whatever they say on those shows. So just wanted to let you know that that's where Panthalassa falls. Obviously, everybody's super excited. Really big news. Lots of coverage all over the place on Tech Meme, on all the things. I, of course, will keep an eye on Panthalassa for you, as well as, keeping this list up to date with fundraising. So if you ever want to know what the full rank is, I will give that to you. If you're like, oh, what? I thought there were some other companies that raised some money. Well, Hydraulics is an honorable mention for $35 million in May 2024. Lytix, again, $35 million in February 2019. Jan Rain raised $33 million in January of 2013. So 13 years ago. Jive Software, the quintessential Portland startup, one of the ones that initially motivated me to start doing this kind of thing, covering Portland and Oregon startups back in the day. Jive Software raised $30 million in July of 2010. And Head Computing, again, talking about that AI infrastructure kind of stuff at Head Computing, Intel alums coming up with a new infrastructure architecture for RISC chips.
RISC architecture is going to change everything.
Yeah, RISC is good.
Head Computing raised $30 million in January of this year. All right, so those are the honorable mentions. Okay, as I talked about last week, but if you didn't catch it, it's Portland Startup Week this whole next week. So May 11th through the 15th, more than 50 events occurring, lots of stuff happening in Big Pink and at Upstart, some stuff happening at the Sentinel, if the website would work, stuff happening at the Metro Region Innovation Hub. Got some stuff happening there. See the other stuff here and there in NetSpace, hosting a bunch of stuff. Central Office has some co-working. I know our friends at Radius, caveat pylon or whatever, they're having a rad work day and some programming around that. If you're not familiar with Radius, what they do is they're basically Airbnb, but for office space. So if you have a home that could be used as an office, or you have a home office you want to rent out, you can put it on Radius. People use it to work in, so they don't stay overnight like an Airbnb. They just use it during the day. So that's what Radius does. Great service. Really excited that we got the chance to work with them. Back in the day, they're holding a rad work day. Let me just take you through some other quick things, just, kind of like your anchors. Like if you're like, I just want a thing to go to. I can't go to all the things. Can't do all the Portland Startup Weeky thingamajigs. Give me a few that I can choose from. Maybe I go to one. Okay. So I gave them to you last week, but just as a reminder, kickoff parties at Big Pink on Monday, viewer innovation showcase at clownpenis.fart is where you get your tickets for that. Is Monday and Tuesday, town hall at NetSpace, Beaverton Startup Challenge Demo Day is taking place at the Reeser on Wednesday. The Startup World Cup Portland Regional is taking place at Big Pink on Wednesday. Demolicious Thursday at Big Pink. And then the closing party travels to the other side of the river. You got to cross the river to go to Wonderlove. They're on the central east side, right over there. That's the closing party. That's where it was last year. That's where it's going to be again this year. So I hope you pick a few things to attend for Portland Startup Week. I hope you meet some amazing people. I would love to hear your feedback on Portland Startup Week. Thanks again to Josh Carter and Upstart Collective for organizing everything and programming and all the things, hosting, programming, doing things. This wouldn't happen without a great deal of effort from Josh and the people who support Portland Startup Week alongside him, as well as all the sponsors and all that kind of stuff. Portland Startup Week takes a lot of effort, I say, from experience. So thanks again to Josh and Upstart Collective putting the time in to make it happen. Okay. Last one of the big stories, our friends at Latino Founders, I mentioned at the top, they have a new kind of boot campy program called Next Wave Climate Edition, really designed to help people who are working in the climate tech space or the sustainability space or those kind of things, to help them just get the basics on building their business, kind of push them forward. I want to get some details here. It's a 3-day workshop taking place May 29th through the 31st here in Portland. Apps close on the 29th, so you can get in up to the last minute. Targeting founders at the idea to prototype stage, priority for Portland metropolitan area. So that means Multnomah, Washington, Clackamas, and Yamhill counties, as well as Southwest Washington. So Clark, Columbia, and Skamania counties, if you're building a startup up there. They're super interested in clean energy, climate infrastructure, sustainable agriculture, and the circular economy. So that's the types of companies they're going to focus on for this boot camp. It's really designed to help prepare you to participate in longer form accelerator programs that Latino founders may lead or other folks may lead, but really just getting it. It's like the pre-work, the pre-accelerator work to really get you set up. Like we at Pi, as a startup accelerator, used to partner with Thai Oregon, who would do the boot camp work, and then we would benefit from the people who'd been through the boot camp as deal flow, and then they'd come through our accelerator like, oh, you learned all the basics. Now you can go through the accelerator. And that's kind of what Latino Founders is doing, but it can be like all encompassing. Like you can do the boot camp with Latino Founders, then you can go do the accelerator with Latino Founders. So there's that. That I would highly encourage you if you are working in that space. If you need help as a founder, Latino Founders is such a great organization. One is who heads it up is a former founder. He knows what it's like. He's done all kinds of programming, all kinds of help, all kinds of startup weekends. Just a really, really great program, and I highly encourage you if you're working in that space to apply. Okay. All right. Now, hi. This is it. Now we're at the secrets section, and hopefully my voice will survive. This has been quite the spring for crappy voice podcasting stuff. Or maybe I'm going through puberty. I don't know. And so what I do in secrets is like, I'm not in character. I'm just like, here's what happened this week. Feeling some growing pains in the community, which is fine. You know, like, but dude, I'm not, I'm getting a lot of feedback from all kinds of directions, and I understand why, because I've been here several times before. The Portland startup community, maybe Oregon, as I've talked to people about again and again, Like we don't retain any institutional knowledge about what happened previously. We just kind of cycle through, and every time we go through this cycle, we start rebuilding everything from scratch. It's just like a big steaming fucking crater of people who don't know what's going on, don't recognize any of the history of what's occurred before, don't build upon anything that happened. I mean, the most that generally happens is people are super nostalgic about something like Demolicious, and so they bring it back, or they're, it's super nostalgic about Startup Week or whatever, so they bring that back or keep it going or reboot it. And that is some of the institutional knowledge, but it's not the foundational community knowledge about been there, done that, learned this, therefore improve upon that, innovate upon that. Don't just redo the same thing over and over and over. And that's part of the reason we never get any real momentum, because we're always starting from square one every single fucking time. And it's really frustrating. And if I could do one thing this time around, and I'm going to commit to it to you, and you can hold me to this promise, I promise you what I'm going to focus on this time around is creating that foundational infrastructure that even if everything we're working on right now goes completely to shit, we don't have to start from square one again. That's what I would like to try and do, because it's frustrating as fuck every goddamn fucking time to start again from scratch. And that's why I've got my cranky pants on, because we're going through issues that I've been through a number of times. I'm like, we don't have to do this shit all over again, Portland. Jesus fucking Christ, get your goddamn act together and fucking build upon what we've learned previously. Is that asking too much? Maybe I could ask more politely. But yeah, that's what I'm cranky about this week. I know where we are. I know what we need to do. This is not my job. This is just a hobby that I do in the after hours and those kind of things. And so it's exceptionally frustrating to me, because I know what I could be doing or what I should be doing. I don't have time, bandwidth, capital to do that shit. So we are where we are. We'll get through it. We've been through it any number of times. We've been through it probably thousands of times before I even started doing the work 30 years ago. Like, who knows? So, yeah. So I don't want this to be one of those secret sections that's longer than the episode. Let's talk about some positive stuff. I got to, it's always nice for the folks from UW do an MBA program. The folks at the Foster School of Business at UW always bring a contingent of folks down to Portland every year, and they're always kind enough to reach out. I got to hang out with Marcelino Alvarez, and we did a little, fireside-y chat kind of thing, which was nice. And it was really nice to meet those students and share some insights on Portland. That was great. Got to catch up with AJ Green of the AI Collective and hear more about what he's working on. I always like to support him, kind of like Yosef, who does the Silicon Forest Tech Summit. I always like to check in with those folks, or Megan and Nicole, who are doing AI Portland, or Sam, who does Portland AI Engineers, just like Ferris at Netspace, just like to check in with those folks, make sure they're doing okay and see what's going on. Checked in with a couple of startups who may have some news here soon. Did another startup conversation, got that in the can, and should release another one or two probably next week. I might want to release some Oregon AI Accelerator conversations, given that their demo day is coming up. I plan to attend their demo day on Thursday. Did I say that on the Anchor events? I can't remember if I did, but I will be there for that, because I love a demo day. Always love a demo day. Also caught up with some folks in Bend. I'm going to go down to Bend at the end of the month. So Friday, May 29th, I will be a part of an event down there. So if you're among my Bend friends, I'd probably be hitting you up for coffee or a beverage of some other sort and those kind of things. And then I've been doing some digging into the Prosperity Council stuff and the survey responses and those kind of things, and kind of talking to people about the politicking and all those kind of things. And it inspired me. I worked with Claude this week to create basically a virtual lobbyist that will keep an eye on all that stuff for us at the state level and city level. So hopefully we don't wind up with another situation like QSBS. Hopefully we can figure that out before it makes it into law. So I'm working on some stuff like that. I also know of a few startups who built systems like that. This was just for me to like build out and use as an early warning system for me. But if people have other tools, I'm always happy to recommend those as well. Yeah, I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a good space. I am happy to be cranky. Like, that makes me a little bit happy. I sometimes miss being cranky, but fuck, Portland, come on. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. I don't want to trigger anyone because I know this can be a trigger for some folks, but if you have a mom-like figure in your life, it doesn't have to be your actual mother. It could be somebody who just participates in your life in a mother-like figure. Please wish them a happy Mother's Day on Sunday if you're into that sort of thing. And as far as things go for you, please, like, get your Portland Startup Week schedule together, get all that stuff figured out. Hope to run into you at an event or two. I hope you get some time outside to touch grass while it's nice and all those kind of things. Hope you're hanging in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.